In my life, one of the best gifts that I ever received was from my dad. My dad made me believe that anything was possible. When I was a kid, my dad would, he would say some things to me like, one day we're gonna have a pool. He would always give me things to look forward to. I remember being a kid in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where my dad took me to this like little warehouse, and it was actually a storage unit. And inside that storage unit was a guy, and he had a bunch of chairs set up, and in the front row, me and my dad sat, and nobody else showed up. But on a little easel, he gave a demonstration of how his audience of two could make $1 million. And the reason I want to share that with you is because after that, my dad took me around to some different neighborhoods and showed me, other people that were successful, and showed me exactly, where they lived. And I asked a lot of questions. But at the core, what my dad was doing was he was implanting beliefs. He was implanting beliefs of what was possible. And so this time of the year, after adapting the Life by Strategy methodology, I always take this time to reflect. That's what I'll do over the next couple weeks is I'll be reflecting on next year. I'll be reflecting on the things that I love, the things that I don't enjoy, the things that I want to do more of, the things that empower me. So this is one of my journals I just found, and one of my older journals that I've had. This one, when I was going through it, I was looking for a notebook to take notes, and I got this at the Inc. 500 5000, and I was doing my goals, which me and my wife do our goals at the end of every year, and I found from 2013 my goals. Check this out, and I actually read them to a friend of mine the other day, and he was telling me, he was like, man, that's incredible. And the reason why is as I read through them, so many of the things that so this was from January 5th, 2013. I went through a Jim Rohn, laying out your top 100 goals, list what 5 things I've already accomplished that I'm proud of. So it took me through an exercise. I had to write a number next to them, net worth of $10 million, an amazing relationship with my wife, to be a role model for my children, to be healthy enough to run a marathon. So obviously I've been able to accomplish most of these goals. And so the cool thing about this exercise is I was still dreaming. I mean, and that was the goal, is that you put a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10. So my 10-year goals were dreams, right? So I saved $120,000 for my niece's college fund. She would have been extremely young. If she's 18 now, in 2013, she would have been 10, which I accomplished that goal, just saving $150 every month. Want to have chartered a private jet for my family on a vacation. Want to weigh under 205 pounds. Want a fully functional gym in my home, which obviously I put that as a 10-year goal. I accomplished that. I did put a full gym in my last house. I wanted to be an expert at franchising. And my number one was have a full-time chef that cooks for our family. That was a 10-year goal. Number 10, be the go-to expert for entrepreneurs.
Right. I wish I could just show you the factor of how you can use podcasts to create custom audience by having episodes to the consumer.
So those are an example. Own commercial real estate. I put the value. Own a 42-foot Sea Ray. Take the family to Italy. See the Northern Lights. Go on African safari. I did add one though. One of my new goals that I'm going to put down, I added it the other day. I was with these super achievers, guys worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, actually 2 days ago. And they were telling me about their brand new yacht that was being delivered. And I told them, I said, I'm going to write that in my goals. I want to land on a yacht from a helicopter. I think that would be a cool experience. And who's to say that I can't do that, right? Now I'm not saying, I could say I'm going to own a helicopter and a yacht. I'm just saying I want to land on one. We'll say I want to do that in the next 36 months. I want to share with you the power of beliefs. There's a little story that's been going around. It actually, I think, is a little bit of what you would call as a viral post. But I thought it was really telling, if you will, on the power of belief. And this was done by a Harvard professor in 1950. And this Harvard professor took a handful of mice and put them, and it sounds cruel, but he put them in a jar where they couldn't get out. And he filled the jar with water. And he dropped the mice in. And these mice would swim, and they would watch the mice swim until they were just about to drown. Then they would go in and save them and take them out. And that would last about 15 minutes when they did the first experiment. And later they took those same mice and put them back in the water. And those same mice that literally were about to drown after 15 minutes of it being in the water, they would stay for 60 hours. And the reason why is because they believed, they had belief that someone was going to save them. And, you know, in business right now, you know, if you look at your business, your beliefs are holding you back. You know, your beliefs on what you think is possible. One of the things that is different when you look at a super achiever is a super achiever believes that something is actually possible. Other people have a lot of things around them. A lot of our beliefs come from our parents. A lot of our limiting beliefs, and there's two types of beliefs. You have limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. And I think that the people around you help mold your beliefs over time. When you're young, you know the things that you think you're capable of, the things that you think that you're not capable of. Everything from, you know, Santa Claus, right? Everything from Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. But over time, beliefs are diminishing, they dissipate. You know, this was shared with me by a really great friend that I respect, who I think is one of the best thinkers that I know, one of my, as it relates to the people that I personally know and spend time with. And he said, Mike, listen, they dissipate, no different than boiling water, and it dissipates. Your beliefs start to dissipate. What beliefs are disempowering? You know, for me, when I believed that I could actually take over a neighborhood, when I believed that I could actually be in real estate, that I could actually be self-employed, that I could be an entrepreneur, that set of beliefs allowed me to take action. And then that action turned into other obstacles, other challenges, and I would have to believe that there were solutions to those things. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that, you know, you're either going to believe that you can't do something, and the reason why people believe that they can't, or the reason people don't try, is because of the disempowering belief that they have actually is created and rooted in fear, right? Because if you don't try something, you never fail. And if you believe failure is going to be something that you're judged by, if in your life you've been judged by other people, you have people that told you it wasn't going to work, they start to create the inaction of your taking that first step, which is where you don't know. You don't know if something's going to work. In fact, I've always shared that effort is actually the effort of those mice. That effort was elastic to their belief. Because they were only in there for 15 minutes and somebody saved them, they believed but now knew that it was capable for them to get out of their situation if they just kept going. And so they were able to go for 60 hours. Effort is the energy it takes to overcome resistance. And you go from believing you can do something to knowing you can do something. And over my life, I've exercised that, and I've done it by leveraging empowering beliefs. And you want to think about your children. How are you impacting your children in the way that they believe? How are you impacting the loved ones? Maybe it's an entrepreneur, maybe there's someone in your household that is coming of age of getting their first job, picking out a college, picking out their career. What things are they doing to reframe so that they can actually still dream and tap into the belief so that they can come their full potential? And it is in the art of reframing. So instead of thinking that you can't do something, one of the things that I've always done is I asked myself, well, that won't work. I say, what if it did work? See, in the very nature of asking what it does, if it did work, it refocuses your attention to all of the outcomes that would be accomplished. And it's not just the monetary outcomes. You have to ask yourself, well, what if it did work? Well, what if it did work? Maybe you'd make more money. But what if you had more money? What would that then do for you? Are you currently negotiating with yourself your children's future on where they go to school? Because if it did work, then that would allow you to maybe provide a better future for your kids. Maybe that would allow you to move or put your kids into a different school system than they would be if it did work. If the finances are the result of the effort that you take, and that effort is going to be elastic to your belief. If you start off thinking, man, I don't believe that this is going to work because when I invested in my business last time, I just lost the money, and you know that was painful, so I'm not going to take that action. I know this person's telling me all of these things are going to happen, but I'm not really believing them because the other person told me these things would happen. What happened in that situation is a limiting belief, a disempowering belief, which at the root of belief is a lie, caused you inaction. It caused you to stay where you are. And that's why most of the time when you're sitting at the end of the year and you're looking out to the next year, the next 2 years, most people are going to just be plus 10, 15% of where they are or where the people around them are. And what you want to do is you want to get around people who believe in you, that inspire you. You want to find the people that already accomplished what you're trying to accomplish and find out how they navigated, what beliefs do they have that you might not have, what empowering beliefs, where are your disbeliefs wrong? And one of the best books in the world is a book called Loving What Is. Loving What Is, you know, I've looked on different blogs and different platforms online, and they say it's the #1 book in the world written on mindset. And if you read the entire book, I'll summarize it for you in one sentence. Is that true? Is that really true? See, a lot of the times when we start painting these narratives of things that lead us to inaction, the truth is what's behind the inaction, what's behind the entire limiting belief is something else that isn't true. And the truth is that if you reframe that for yourself, saying, well, what if it would work? What is it that I could do? Who else has accomplished it? When you go to the positive side, instead of saying, you know what, they might be right, it might not work, I don't have enough money. It's in every situation there is a solution, right? Every problem has a solution. It's never really the problem, it's how you're thinking about the problem. And so if you think about your thoughts of being the biggest constraint in your life, my challenge for you this holiday season is not only to be that light for somebody else where you can inspire them by believing in them. When you hear somebody sharing what it is that they're trying to do, instead of telling them all of the reasons it wouldn't work, inspire them. I'm not saying to be so optimistic that you ignore reality. That's not what I'm saying. But at the core is that what we do know is true is that everything that was ever done in this world that was great by anybody, they all came out of circumstances where the path was not clear. You know, I think Steve Jobs is famous for saying that it was really easy to connect the dots looking backwards. It was very easy for me to look back over my lifetime and connect the dots to the biggest decisions, those decisions that I would say were game changers, those decisions where I continued to push forth with effort when there was every reason to stop, to quit. But I didn't. I kept pushing forward because I had belief. And what happens is when you continue to put that effort out, you start to have experiences that let you know. That could be selling your first home, knowing that, man, this really might work out. That might be by, maybe it's a new business venture that you're getting into and getting that first customer. In all of that situation, you're learning. And so it's not based upon things can't work. It's about you becoming more, and it's about the belief system that you have to adopt in your life in order to be on the journey of learning. And I will tell you this, that everything that has been great has come from somebody who had the same challenges as you. And at the end of the day, the only thing that allowed them to take action and get from believing to knowing to put out that effort was having those sets of empowering beliefs, not the limiting beliefs. And so for you, I want to thank everybody. I want you to believe. I want you to dream. I want you to take a moment and take away all of the reasons of why something won't work. You can certainly take the time to think of them. That's not a bad thing. But then on the opposite hand, I want you to give even greater resource, greater effort to all of the things on the reasons why it would work, how it could work, all of the reasons of if you were like that mice and you're sitting at 15 minutes thinking that you've given everything when you really had 60 hours in you, ask yourself, what are the beliefs that you currently have that are holding you back? And start thinking about more empowering beliefs. Believe in the future. Start to dream again. This is the best time to do it. And remember that you can be a part of other people's dreams. You can be that inspiring light and encouragement and help them make the impact and come to their full potential by helping them believe.